I'm Edwin.
And I'm Jocelyn, and this is
The Long Overdue.
Sorry. I forgot that was my line too.
A show about libraries.
Focusing on the Sul Ross Library and beyond.
Well, now you read mine this time.
Each week we'll feature a special guest in a short conversation. Like I said, I'm Edwin, and you're Jocelyn.
Yeah, apparently I'm Jocelyn now. Well, this week's guest, who is not switching names, is April Aultman Becker, our Dean of Education and Cultural Resources. Before becoming a dean, April was a teacher, a librarian, and even served as library director here at Sul Ross. So, April, welcome.
Thank you. Well, it's nice to be here with y'all.
All right, go ahead and start us off with the first question, Edwin.
No problem, Jocelyn. Well, I wanted to say that this is April's second time on the show, but our first time recording did not get saved and posted. So we're glad to have her back to recover the lost episode. We'll dive right into the questions.
Definitely.
So, what do libraries mean to you?
Libraries are obviously really important to me. I grew up in libraries. To me, they mean home. They mean safeness. They're security. They're a place of knowledge, a place of help. I never say the same. We've asked this question a couple times. I can't remember what I said last time already. A big equalizer too. Like everybody's welcome in a library for all kinds of different reasons. So I think a library is whatever you want to make of it.
Yeah.
But they're super important. I don't think there's that many places that exist anymore that want you to come in, want you to sit on their furniture, want you to, enjoy things for free. So libraries never ask anything of you, I think, which is really nice.
I read online that libraries are like one of the last places where they don't expect you to come in with money.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can just come in and I'll be like, oh man, I'm gonna have to spend a lot of money in here. Like, not really.
I think libraries are the only institution that you can come in, not spend money, and just spend time.
Right.
there.
Spend a whole day.
Yeah. Like even coffee shops where people will go to work and stuff, it's still expected that you're going to buy a coffee or two to spend your time there. But libraries, no, we just want people in there using what we already have.
We want to give it away. Yeah. Just like share.
Absolutely.
It's a great thing.
Exactly,
So that makes librarians and library staff members great collaborators, I think, because you want to share what you know. You want to work with other people. And I think a unique thing about librarians, and probably library staff too, but I remember this from library school, is that we don't know everything. And we don't care that we don't know everything.
Right.
Like, I don't know the answer, but I can refer you to somebody who does, or I can help you find the information to get the answer.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of unique in society as well. Like we don't pretend that we know what we don't know.
Right. We're excited to admit when we don't know something because then that means another research project.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fun for us.
And it's like a fun little adventure for both us and the patron, because it's like you're looking for an answer and we don't have it, so now we're looking for that answer too. So hey, look.
Yeah, now we're looking
on a
together
quest.
on a quest, right?
So
Absolutely.
that's very, I agree with that 100% for sure. So then let's move on to the second one.
Okay.
What does our library now mean to you with all of this in mind?
Anyone who asks about our library here at Sul Ross, I always say it's the best place on this campus. I'm totally biased, I know that, but it really is, right? Like you get your beautiful views of Twin Peaks, of town and everything, but you're also just surrounded by open space and like kind of pleasing furniture and artwork and that kind of stuff. So to me, our library is just beautiful. I never think it's used enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we could always use more students, more faculty and staff, more community members coming in. And that's unique too, right? That like we're not the only building, because obviously the rec center allows community as well, but we are a building that encourages community to use our facilities and to hang out. So I don't know, our library, it's my favorite place on campus. We've heard faculty say it's like the Paris of campus. That's something that Betsy and I love to go around saying.
I like that. I haven't heard that
Yeah,
yet.
that's actually pretty cool. Wow.
I hope somebody says that to you guys, or the same person that calls it that comes to the library soon. Yeah.
The Paris, Texas of
Paris, Texas.
We can do better than that. Sorry, if y'all are from Paris, sorry. Our library is super important. It's just a place of knowledge, a place of sharing, a place of collaboration. And definitely like our furniture and our staff members reflect those kind of values and ideas.
We've really invested at the library in furniture, in making the library a very comfortable space to
definitely
spend time, to study, to work in study groups, to be a student, or even as a community member to come and enjoy what we have to offer. Like, I love taking a little break, stepping outside my office and sitting in those big comfy armchairs, having a little cup of coffee and just looking out. It's so nice.
Seeing that bright and beautiful McDonald's
That
sign.
bright and beautiful McDonald's sign.
Just put your hand over that.
Yeah,
Everything
I do.
else is
I'm
good.
like, oh, this is beautiful.
So that was like the first thing I did when I got to this library, which was before you were a student even, right? Like before your first year. What year did you begin working in the library?
2017.
Okay. So when I got here in 2015, the library did not look at all like it does today. So the first floor was full of 8-foot stacks.
Oh.
You couldn't see the view unless you were standing right at the windows. Like the stacks went all the way past the photocopiers at the end.
Whoa.
So it just seemed crazy. Like you walk in and you're just like assaulted by these giant stacks of books, and you have to walk all the way around to kind of enjoy it. So that was my first project, was to like get those short shelves in there and the comfy chairs. And that's not like a great idea for me. Those ideas have been around forever about libraries, you know, like making making space where you can study alone or together or as a large group. And so that's what we started working on immediately. Like, how do we reform this library to make it more like our students want to use it today?
Right.
So yeah, shelves went down, we got the comfy chairs, and then we started working on the floors above. And we still have a lot of work to do.
That's a huge project.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so
definitely.
much fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So much fun.
And so worth the time and effort too,
Yeah.
because now walking into the library is so pleasant because you just you can see everything.
Yes.
It's so nice.
I mean, space is okay, right? Like it's good to have like breathable space, but a lot of libraries really pack it to the ceiling, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it definitely looks way more appealing for the students now.
Yeah.
Because they're not assaulted like, oh man, this looks like a place where I have to show up and I have to do my work. And it's like,
That's
no,
a great
like
point.
I can show up
And hang out.
do some of my homework, read whatever they got, stuff like that. And
Exactly.
I think that image is perfectly like placed there every time you walk in.
Yeah, and I think we have plenty of room to go like library of the future and beyond from where it is now.
Definitely.
Another cool addition, the outside seating is really nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, I mean, we have the best climate in Texas here. Maybe not
Well,
today. Maybe not yesterday.
the rain yesterday was amazing, but oh my
Yes.
God, the last couple weeks has
The
been
heat's been
horrible.
awful. Yeah. Okay.
But
Besides
at
the last
night,
couple
it's very nice.
But it's nice to be able to sit outside in the shade.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
And we're working on it around campus about getting more seating. But that's actually a pretty recent thing too.
Wow.
It makes sense that students would want to be outside, but
Yeah.
we have to give them a place to gather. So I think the library's doing a great job, like increasing that all the time.
I agree. When the weather was nicer in the spring, I would go outside a couple days a week and have my lunch out there. It was really nice.
It is nice.
Enjoyable.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your history with libraries? You have a long and deep and rich history
I do.
with libraries.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know if it was in this podcast recording or the previous one, but I totally grew up in libraries.
Yeah.
So like those are our earliest memories of, elementary school, leaving, and then my mom taking us straight to the public library and just kind of, probably for a little break, just like letting us go and, find whatever you want and come back up. And that library wasn't the kind of library that said, you're under 13, so you have to stay in this room or anything like that. They let us kind of run free. Really cool librarians, I guess, back in the day.
For sure.
I don't think I would even be cool with that today in our library.
No.
But I could go up to the second floor where there was actually research books and stuff, and I could check out whatever I wanted without anyone telling me I couldn't. So that was super important. And even then I recognized, like, I'm not buying this. I'm getting to take it home, and I will take care of it, and I will bring it back so I can have another one, So yeah, definitely grew up in public libraries. My elementary school library was really important to me. We have I've been talking to a lot of people about this lately, about the weird format of the school. It was completely open. There were no walls in the school.
Whoa.
Probably like an 80s kind of concept, I guess,
What?
to age myself. Yeah, that was 80s. Maybe it was built in the 70s even though. So no walls. So you just had like a coat cubby that would like separate you and the teacher's class next door. So you could hear everything happening everywhere. And the library was just the center of the school. So you could hear everything from everywhere in the library.
Did you like that?
No, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like they forgot to complete the building and they were like, what, we can pass this
Yeah,
off.
yeah. We'll just be like, this is new age, this is gloomy, this is
We've
hip.
run out of money.
We don't
no
have
walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, like shelves were just kind of like in the middle of the school and around, and your class areas were around that. So that was really strange.
Yeah.
I don't know if I realized when I was young, like how weird and not conducive to, study and learning that probably was for all of us. But it made the library super accessible. So
Yeah.
you could see it all over the place. So you always wanted to go there. And same deal. You could choose whatever you like. It was just a nice place.
That's so nice.
I don't know. Yeah. So those libraries, you know, I was a librarian in high school, of course. We probably all were here. Or probably.
I actually wasn't.
Really?
But I was pretty good pals with my high school librarian.
There you go.
I was involved in all the other nerdy stuff. I was
you can only do so many
and
nerdy
I was
things.
debate team captain, and I was the chess club captain. So I didn't have any space in my schedule for being a library, but I was in there pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about libraries, learned the Dewey System, like then, you know, because I had to put away books and all of that. I worked in a library in college. They trusted me for some reason when I was like 19 to catalog the journals and stuff.
Whoa.
So yeah, very strange. I would work on like Saturday, Sunday mornings before the library even opened. They gave me a key to go in and like go to the basement and catalog the stuff by myself and then leave.
Wow.
Really strange. But again, like the whole idea that, you know, it's a library and it's just like such a cool environment full of knowledge, I guess. There's something in each one of those books to learn. I don't know.
That's right.
Again, exposing my nerdiness here.
No,
that's awesome.
I think we all feel that way.
And then, I mean, after I became a teacher, I was a teacher for about 7 years. I taught 9th grade and 11th grade, and it was all about testing and teaching the tests towards the end. And, you know, I would bring my students to the library to do some research for projects. I was an English teacher, so lots of research stuff. And eventually I noticed that like the librarian there was really happy. Like none of the rest of us were teaching. And so I kind of asked her like, what's the secret? And she's like, well, like you're a school librarian, which means you're not responsible for the 30 kids in front of you all day. Yeah. You get to touch all types of learning, all types of classes and students, and you don't ever have to grade anything. Yeah. So it seemed like a great deal. So that's where I started library school at University of North Texas. And then I ended up working at that library with that librarian for a few years, which is really fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. School libraries are fun.
Yes, honestly, that's,
You used to do this, right? School library stuff.
I actually was never a school librarian, but I would have loved to have been one. But I'm very happy here too. So
I mean, school libraries, it's a different age of student, and so they need different things. And so you can do a lot of fun programming and book clubs and things that maybe college students might not show up for.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a captive audience is what it's what it really boils down to. When you know you're going to have those students every day, you can plan programs around who you know is going to be there. Yeah. Versus at an academic library, we'll put our heart and soul into a program and then like 5 people show up and you're like, I'm so glad you 5 are here.
Not because the other 20 didn't want to, but they probably had class at that time or they had a sports practice or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a different world, I guess.
Absolutely.
Different scenario and all that.
Yeah.
You want to ask the next question?
Yeah, sure. So besides your bias towards our library.
Our library is totally the coolest library I've ever visited. Yeah.
It's totally the absolute coolest.
Totally.
Is there a second place library then?
Right.
So
who rivals?
I do library tourism, right? Like anywhere I go, I have to hit the library. So the New York Public Library is the coolest, right? That's classic. You've got what are their names? Patience and Fortitude, the lions that guard the library as you walk up. They've got a cool shop where you can buy, library related swag. You have to go in the reading room. You have to sit there for a while, turn on the cool green lights and everything, ask for a book. It's just a beautiful like historical experience.
Oh, okay.
The Seattle Public Library, super beautiful, like weird design. Rem Koolhaas is the architect of that one.
Okay.
And so it's a really strange library. I think it's like it's not a triangle, it's a strange shape and it's all metal. And so like you go in and there's escalators that go up and there's all these interesting areas. It's kind of loud because it's metal. Oh. But it's beautiful. It's a really weird library.
If you talk to architecture students, they know exactly who that is, and they know exactly if you're like, oh, the Seattle Public Library, and they're like, oh, I know, blah, 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 and they did this, and this is what makes it so special and cool. Like, people who are not librarians or even interested in libraries will go to see that building because of its architectural significance. Marvel.
Yeah,
exactly.
But another cool library, and I can't remember, obviously I went to some library conference in Seattle or Portland one year and like hit all the libraries. They have a zine library up there. And so that's pretty cool. It's like a whole library of homemade zines and zines from like the 90s and 2000s.
What?
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Zines. Okay, cool.
I've made some.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Again, dating myself. But I used to be really into zines like in college. I
Yeah.
used to make my own and like photocopy and staple things and
Fun.
distribute stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really neat that somebody out there is beginning to collect this stuff because it definitely tells the history of like a certain era of music, of politics. that
Yeah,
kind of
social
stuff.
movements for sure. When I was living in Denton, zines were like the thing.
Yeah.
So many different groups and organizations focused on like social repair and progress.
Yeah.
Everybody's making zines.
Right.
And everybody's putting them out there. So
That's really exciting.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool that it continues.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great addition to like that world of libraries.
And a different one.
Yeah.
And then there are other libraries. Like I have a friend who's a professor in Michigan, and she works on like free libraries and protest libraries. So it's like Occupy Wall Street. This was what, like 5-10 years ago? I don't know how many years ago at this point. Maybe a little bit more than that at this point.
Maybe like 10 or 15.
10 or 15. Sorry, pandemic makes every
Oh,
timeline
yeah, I know.
weird these days.
It does.
But like during that Occupy and different Occupy movements, they would gather materials, to be able to disperse to people, and they would actually like set up libraries during these
Cool.
protests and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so my friend is a person who's followed this and documented it for a long time, and that's kind of her specialty.
Oh,
So
That's
I mean, there are
amazing.
libraries for everything, right? There's
Yeah.
tool libraries,
Mhm.
there's libraries where they like loan out baking ware, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was talking with Betsy this morning
Yeah.
about, did she tell you this
No.
idea already? About making like a makerspace, kind of, but having it be more like a tool /
Cool.
bakeware library. And I
I love
get this
that idea.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
So
And with some publicity, that would be a huge help to this community.
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that it would be good to get local businesses involved too. Like if Tractor Supply wanted to like donate some of their specialty tools and
That's
like,
nice.
then it's like, you can put your name on whatever you want. You can whatever. But if students can use it and the wider community can use it,
Cool.
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be
Benefit.
so useful.
Definitely like a very fun venture for everyone almost. Yeah.
And see, that's why libraries are awesome, because you guys are always thinking about like, how can we give more to people?
Yeah.
How can we help people more?
Yeah.
That's unique.
Very unique indeed, definitely.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah.
I love working in a library.
I know. I miss it every day.
Yeah. Well, you're like,
I can come by and visit
Yeah.
now.
you're right here. Okay, so with your love of the Sul Ross Library, the different architecturally interesting and historical libraries that you visited, how would you build your own dream library? What does it look like? What kind of books does it have? Does it have any special features?
I don't remember this question from our previous podcast, but
I think we made it more specific.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
a dream library. Okay, so I have a ton of books in my house.
Cool.
So I guess maybe I'm working on my own dream library. I don't know. It would probably suit my specific interests, as anyone's dream library would. So Edwin knows this about me, like contemporary fiction, modern contemporary fiction, lots of art stuff, lots of probably architecture, fashion stuff as well. It's got to be, ceilings or like shelves to the ceiling with those cool ladders that you can pull around,
Beauty
right?
and the Beast vibes, yes.
Something well lit so that you can enjoy with good comfy seats everywhere. I guess that's an easy dream library.
Yeah, but I mean,
definitely.
you got the basics covered.
Yeah.
Except like the back end, right? Like all the cataloging of the
Yeah.
books and the organization, because I'm not going to say my books at home are organized.
No, I don't think any librarian has organized books at home.
I don't think so. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you alphabetize?
No. Well, yes, but I don't follow like
Any
I have
sort of
fiction and nonfiction.
Yeah.
I have nonfiction in my own made-up system of books that I think go together based on their topic, and then I have all fiction together, regardless of like age group, alphabetical by author. But the only reason is because we had these really beautiful shelves at our old house that were like 6 shelves deep, and we had 2 or 3 of them, and so it was a very nice, like, pleasing little corner of our house to have all of our books very well organized.
That's nice.
It was
That
nice.
is
But
nice.
now in the
Yeah.
RV, it's like we got piles here and there.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I alphabetize, but I don't like strictly alphabetize. Like all
Sure.
the B's are together and the
Yeah.
C's are together.
That makes sense.
But you're right. I do separate like fiction, nonfiction, art, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. You just got to make it usable.
Yeah.
But I
I
mean, if
mean,
it's your library,
yeah.
do you
Right.
need to catalog everything?
Well, if you don't remember where it is.
Yeah, I would need to search for it.
And what we have, like I've been talking about books the whole time, like that's all libraries are.
It is. You want to do anything else?
No, just books.
The rest of the world is always like, why don't you guys just digitize that library?
The Sul Ross library?
Any library, right?
Any
like
library.
everybody's
Yeah.
like, all books should be digitized. Everything should be
I don't
online.
disagree. However, what happens when the internet dies?
Yep.
Right. Or just even the process. And I'll tell you, I was talking with Dr. Hernandez, our new president, yesterday, and I almost expected why don't you digitize the whole thing?
Yeah.
But we started talking about digitization, and he's like, there's so much more involved in digitization.
Yes.
You have to have people that are working on the metadata, the categorizing, making sure you can find stuff. And I'm so appreciative that other people know that, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not as easy as scanning all day
Right. Yeah.
and it's done. That's the easy part,
That,
I guess.
that would be the easy part.
Yeah.
And then there are libraries and archival libraries especially that do spend a lot of time digitizing their materials, but those materials stay.
Right.
They don't
They still
destroy them.
stay.
They don't get rid of them.
Because-
So if you're digitizing everything, but you don't want it to be like on the shelf usable, then you need remote storage.
Right.
And then I was reading about like the environmental impacts of physical versus digital items, like just having things on a hard drive somewhere in the cloud, blah, blah, blah. Like it's taking up space,
Yeah.
a little less space, but it's using a lot of energy to maintain that
That's a
once a
great
book
point.
is made,
There.
as long as it's semi-climate controlled, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting point that I don't think anyone thinks about.
Not
Right.
to mention, people forget that it's way more eye strain
Yeah.
Yes.
looking at the screen, reading the books. And we're talking like books that like have more than like 100 pages, obviously.
yeah.
Like you're going to be there all day and your eyes are just going to get super strained.
Yes, and there's been research done too. I know this from my teaching days. You probably remember this too. Like the memory synapses or whatever that are engaged when you're reading a physical book
Yeah.
are different from when you're reading on even like a Kindle or something that's designed to look like a book. And I have a Kindle. I love reading my ebooks.
Yeah.
It's so handy, especially when traveling. But you don't remember the things that you read on a screen
Yeah.
as easily as you do reading things from paper or a book.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's something I know, like the library almost every year polls, do you guys like print or do you want online? And it's
Yeah.
almost always 50-50 or
Yeah.
49-51. And I think it's just because maybe online is better for research for journal reading or for, you're looking like Control F. I'm looking for a certain thing
Yes.
in this
Yeah.
paper here.
I wish books had Control F.
Yeah,
so awesome.
I know. Yeah, but books, you're right. Like if you're going to be leisurely or if you're really going to get into something, to me, it's better to change. turn pages.
I can think about
personal,
lines in books and be like, oh, I know how it felt in my hands and I
see it
know
in your
which
face.
side of the book it
Yeah.
was on.
Yeah.
Freaky.
Yeah.
And that does not happen.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I can think of a couple things right now.
Yeah. I'm like, that page here-ish.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
could
oh,
find
it's
it.
on this side of the book.
Yeah.
This side was heavier, this side wasn't, stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's not something that without that tactile feedback, you don't get that memory experience.
Yeah.
So, whew, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting, definitely.
Anyway, you want to ask our next question?
Yeah, sure. So,
Jocelyn, I mean.
Jocelyn.
Edwin, whoever. Jocelyn.
Jocelyn.
Which is actually my gamer tag
It
on
is.
PlayStation, which Edwin
It is.
didn't know. And so he
I
was
saw it
like,
and I
what's your
was like-
gamer tag? I was like, Jocelyn. And we already talked about that would be our celebrity couple name is
That's
Jocelyn.
adorable. You didn't like Edlin?
That,
No.
That's odd.
But maybe Edlin's better, so then we know when we're talking about my gamer tag versus our friendship. Anyway, back on track. Woo.
So then, what is your favorite book? Which is a very hard question in and of its own.
Super hard, yeah.
But what are you currently reading as well?
Okay. What am I currently reading? I've been carrying around a book for a while, but I haven't actually
That counts.
opened it.
That totally counts.
Like the end of school and I was sick and like all kinds of things. I just haven't opened the cover yet. But I'm carrying around the Elena Ferrante, The Lying Lies of Adults, I think is what it's called. And she wrote, you guys have probably heard of her, she wrote the Neapolitan trilogy. She wrote the books about, it was a set of women who grow up together as friends and go through all these weird life changes and stuff. It's a really, really beautiful trilogy. Cool. So I wanted to read her next book, which has nothing to do with the other three. But I haven't opened the cover yet. So it's on the
But
list.
the intent is there,
The
and that's
intent
what
is
matters.
totally there.
Yeah. And
Cool.
like I told you guys, I just went to Barnes & Noble over the weekend or whenever that was. And even though I have piles and stacks and shelves of books I haven't read, you still have to buy more books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
I got The Night Watchman, which I think is
Cool.
Louise Erdrich or something like that.
I can see the cover in my
Yeah.
head.
Exactly. And I guess I'd been wanting to read that a while. For some reason, I don't have it in my collection. Favorite book, though, of all time is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Good one.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's just because, magical realism is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually more into realistic fiction, and the majority of that is, but I always like a good family drama.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's 100 years of crazy family drama.
Oof.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good one. Okay. So back to our library. What is something notable in our library collection that you think everybody should know about?
So the Van Robinson collection, I think, the Fine Books collection. And if you don't know what that is, Fine Press books are like very short run prints. So sometimes hand printed through, a printing press or something like that. So always like a small edition. We've got beautiful books. So Van Robinson is a man who lives in Fort Davis, and he donated the books right before I started working at the library. And along with the books, he donated a really beautiful cabinet to keep them all in. So I believe he has a bigger collection still at his house.
Wow.
But he picked out what he thought that our library kind of should have. So it's a lot of classics that are illustrated. Obviously, The Shining Star, and there's the Moby Dick book.
Yeah.
And we've got a special case for it.
I would call it the white whale of our collection.
Yeah, the white whale.
Very nice, Justin. Thank you. This is going to be the nerdiest podcast y'all have ever done, I promise. Yeah. It's beautiful. That's a great book. But other things that are in there, gosh, I can't even remember a lot
There's
of
a
other
beautiful
titles.
copy of The Hobbit that I've noticed in there.
Okay.
I think.
Cool.
If I'm remembering.
I think there's some Kafka in there.
Yeah.
I think there might be some like Mark Twain illustrated. There's some specifically Texas books. There's one that's got like 12 poems of Texas or something, and it's gorgeous. It's got like a century plant agave on the front cover. All these pretty like very local feeling images. So it's a beautiful collection, and that is something that we kind of keep locked up in the library, but anybody can access with just asking at the front desk. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth seeing. Like,
just
how a book is a book, and you're going to enjoy reading it if you like that type of book.
Right.
Definitely.
But it's when a book becomes a piece of art too. It's so special.
Agreed.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's
That's
always
awesome.
nice to have pictures in your books still.
No,
as
definitely.
adults still.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, yes,
a nice
teaching
break.
elementary, I had students who would love to read graphic novels. We
Sure.
all like to read graphic novels. We like stories with pictures. That's why
Right.
movies are popular.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would have parents be like, I really want my kid to be reading real books because I want them to be,
These are real books.
and I'm like, okay, they are reading real books.
Yes.
What's the problem?
And what's
Yeah.
crazy is that some of them don't even realize that a lot of these graphic novels actually tackle a lot of like real world mature issues.
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, it's because it has a lot of pictures, so it's not mature. And
yeah,
it's
they
like,
think it's a picture book.
Yeah,
and
and
I'm
it's
like,
like-
well, even picture books are valuable to read.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And two, it challenges you in a different way because it's pictures that you have to interpret rather
Yeah,
than
you're practicing
words.
your empathy skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something like Mouse by Art Spiegelman or something.
I love that comic.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Wow.
of course, we have a great graphic novel collection on the
Yeah.
third
Oh,
floor.
yes.
But like listening to him talk about his books, like he works so hard on like the little mice faces to make sure that they're saying what he wants them to say without the words.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an extra added layer to reading.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
definitely.
All right. We're getting close to the end.
I think you got this last one, huh? Or was it me? Oh, yeah, no.
I think it's you.
Okay.
Okay.
So, we're going to move away from the library a little bit. What do you love specifically about Sul Ross?
Man, it's hard to say what you love about Sul Ross, but it just gets you, right? Like, I love this place. Like,
Yeah.
I'll probably cry talking about it right now. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the potential.
Sure.
Like, we have amazing people that go to school here, that work here. I think we all want to better the area. We want to better our students and each other. It feels like a family. It feels like a community. I mean, sure, we all have family fights and all that kind of stuff.
The family drama.
Yeah. You might have people in your family you don't want to see all the time
Sure.
or whatever. But there's just something really sweet about this school. And,
Yeah.
And maybe the rest of your question is, what do you love about Alpine?
well-
I think maybe it's because it exists in Alpine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're always looking to strengthen that relationship, right? With town, what do we say, town and gown or whatever.
Oh,
you guys not heard that?
No, I like that. We're learning so much lingo today.
I know.
Town and gown connections. But I think Sul Ross is possible and is possible because of Alpine, and Alpine is possible because of Sul Ross. So we're this like symbiotic relationship, and we need one another, right? We don't even know how much we need one another. But this area is just beautiful. And I don't know if it's like the long history of the area or maybe the recent history of the area of all of us just, finding our place here or something. So no, obviously I can't put it into words. But I like it. It feels different than anywhere else.
Yes.
And I think you guys both know
No,
that
it's
too.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's very nice, very quaint.
It is.
It's
Something special.
Yeah.
For sure. That does not exist
Like it's
anywhere
easy
else.
to live here somehow, but it's also very hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
If you like, we're going to Midland this weekend just to like go to Target and stuff. Like that's you got to get out of town if you want to.
I think that's
Get
kind of
everything on
key.
your grocery list. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's lovely to be, because the three of us are not from this area. It's lovely to be here, and it feels good to be here. But you maybe need to connect outwards every now and then.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's all the questions that we have for you. Anything you have for us?
why did you guys start this podcast?
Yeah, Jocelyn, why did we
Videocast.
start this?
Okay, it was during a professional development. When was this? February? March?
It had to have been, I think you guys tried to interview me in March. So it had
I
to
wanna
have
say
It must have been
March.
February. Yeah. During it was a PD. Do you remember what the topic was? It was something about shifting to online life.
Okay.
Essentially
Yeah.
was what it boiled down
Something
to.
like that, yeah.
And I was thinking about ways that we could turn outreach digital.
Great.
Because, we can go to events and be around campus and stuff, but this reaches a whole nother audience of, campus and beyond too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I texted Edwin during the PD and said, what I'm gathering from this PD is we should start a podcast. And Edwin thought I was joking. I was not joking.
I thought she
How
was
would you
joking.
do that?
Yeah, and was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I don't think I talked to you again about
No,
it.
you didn't. She
And
just
so I
shows
was like,
up
okay, I
with
have
a
a script.
script.
We're recording this day. Are you ready? And you're like, what?
I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm part of this now officially.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
So,
it.
Me too. It's been
Yeah,
fun.
it's been very, very fun,
And
honestly.
a good way for me being newer to get to know our faculty, staff, and students as well in a semi-formal setting, but in a way that's shareable with a larger amount of people
Yes.
as well.
I think it's a good way for them to get to know y'all as well.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, you're some people think that they're stereotypical librarians, right?
Yes.
And you are obviously not those people,
Right.
Or you're not the stereotype or whatever. So it's cool to put you out there and
Yeah.
say we're funny, we're nerdy,
We're loud.
or whatever. We're loud, yeah. So that shows that you're real humans. You're approachable. Why not come and ask you a question?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That's why we started it.
Definitely.
That's totally the reason. Jocelyn's going to be erasing the actual reason.
Yeah. I'm
No,
like,
your reason was good.
thank you. Thank you.
I love it. I'm glad that you guys are trying something new.
Thank you.
That's exciting.
We do too.
Thank you.
We have a relatively new sign off. So now we say thanks for watching, and remember to check out next week's episode.
Check out next week's episode, yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All good?